we go. All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. Yes? All right. Okay. Let's do it again. So if you couldn't hear me before, we're going to do a yoga and meditation practice today. I am really passionate this week about moving into a heart-centered practice. This time right now in our lives can be so crazy. And so when I think about how we mostly live our lives up here, 80% of our lives we move from our mind. And when we take the time to get into our heart space, we speak from our hearts, and we act from our hearts, and we think from our hearts, and we kind of let love lead the way, if you will. We are in our authentic self. We say what we mean what we say, our intentions are clear. And so today's practice will be all about releasing any tension that we're holding around the heart space. And it's not just the front of the heart, it's the back of the heart, the side of the body. So grab your props. If you didn't hear me before because my mic wasn't on, I apologize about that. 2 blocks and a blanket. Again, if you don't have any yoga props, just whatever you have around the house that can support you, please grab. So let's kneel again. We'll take 2 and just come to a cross-legged position. Any place that feels good. You can cross at the ankles. You can cross at the shins. Allow your palms to rest on your lap for a moment. And then as we move into our meditation, I will ask you to bring your left palm onto your heart and your right palm onto your belly. But for now, when you're ready, close the eyes. And if closing the eyes doesn't feel good, just take your gaze down the tip of the nose. So just start to move away from distractions. And distractions come in so many forms, right? Not just in our physical environment, but in our minds as well. And just find your body. So feel your seat on the floor, the earth supporting you, the space around you. And then bring your left palm onto your heart and your right palm onto your belly. Start to breathe into your hands. Make your inhales long. And make your exhales even longer. So often we think we have to walk through this life in our heads with logic and be pragmatic about things, be logical, and be rational. And that's all well and good. But you know those moments when you are in your heart and you are present and you are connected. What if you were to walk around your world like that? Not that everything is unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes, because it's not. But we get to decide where we lead from, where we live from. So as you breathe here, say thank you to your body. Thank you for showing up today, for breathing, for working. And let anything that you're holding on to, it's gripping you, that is not love. Release. And we'll release our hands and open up your eyes. Hope that you enjoy your practice today. You're going to come on over to hands and knees. And at any point where you need support for your joints, so specifically for the knees, you can always grab your blanket again, place it underneath the knees. Move all your props off to the side here. And then bring your palms down, knees underneath the hips. And before we start to move into some spinal movement, just feel your belly here and notice if your back, if your low back just wants to sag, or round. Try to find a neutral spine. So what that means is the center of your body is engaged. So we're not arching, we're not rounding. The center of the body is engaged. So from here, as you feel that, just take your right leg, stretch it straight back. And press right out through the heel into the hamstrings. Gaze is forward. Find 2 breaths. Notice if your back wants to sink or round, try to keep that belly engaged and lifting into the back body. It's like the front of your body and the back of your body are meeting. And from here, you're going to start to just pivot the right heel in. Your left palm is going to slightly move to the right. So your left palm is underneath your left shoulder. You can start to think of moving your body into these straight lines. And then start to reach your right arm up. Take a deep breath here. And then exhale, start to take some arm circles. So let the right arm move forward. 3 times forward. And then 3 times back. So just noticing as you take this arm, so our upper arm is called the humerus bone, and it's just moving around our shoulder socket. If you find any cobwebs, you hear any clicking, maybe pause there, investigate. And then start to take your right arm all the way up and over the right ear. So breathing into the side body. So as I was saying before, it's not just about the front and the back of the heart, but it's also about the side. So breathe here, maybe letting that head tip back. Full breath in. And full breath out. From here, you're just going to start to bring the right palm down. Take your left palm out a little bit and then find a plank pose. Now, if this is a lot for you, you can always hang here with the knees down, but maybe play with lifting the knees up and starting to really engage the center of the body, looking forward. Let's stay here for another breath. Just building a little bit of stamina. And then exhale, start to drop the knees. You want to take your chest forward now, ahead of the fingertips. Keep the toes curled under for support. Bend your elbows, lower all the way down to the chest and belly. I'm spinning my hands out and I'm going to start to roll my shoulders up and back in what we call a cobra. And then you're going to lower. Let's try that again. You're going to inhale, roll the chest up. And then exhale, lower. Curl your toes under. You're going to slide your hips all the way back on your heels. We call this a child's pose. Let the head go. So I'm just going to lift my head up and talk as you release your head down, because I don't want to talk to my mat. I want to talk to you. You can consider this pose, child's pose, as home. So anytime you need to rest, you need to relax, you can come back here, regardless of what I'm saying. This is your practice, so you really want to honor your body. Whenever you're ready, come all the way back up, hands and knees. We're going to curl our toes under. And you're going to start to lift your hips up and back into a downward facing dog. So right away, I want you to bend your knees, take all the pressure off your shoulders, push your palms into the mat, and then melt the chest back to your legs. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. You want to try to find a long spine and move your shoulders away from the ears. Get really broad. We're going to hold it here for a breath. And exhale. Start to release your knees all the way back down. And then you're going to roll all the way up to sit. If this doesn't feel comfortable to sit back on the heels, then you can come to crossed legs. Just going to bring your left hand down, bring your right arm all the way up and over. So we did this when our legs were in a different position, but we're just going to get a little bit deeper here. So right arm reaches all the way up and over. One more breath. We're just still warming up the body. And then other side, right hand down, left arm reaches all the way up and over. Relaxing your shoulders. And then we're going to do that whole sequence on the other side. One more breath. And then releasing your hands down. So few shoulder rolls back. So as you can see, we're hitting the front of the body, back of the body, sides of the body, the shoulders, any place around the heart where we could be holding some tension, right? And not just the physical tension, right? You know what I'm talking about. Holding things hostage, people, right? All those things. So from here, you're going to start to send your left heel back. And as you push out through the left heel, just notice the sensation in the back of the left leg. You're opening up through the hamstrings. And again, I want you to notice, are you letting your chest just sink? Pull it in and up. Good. You're going to take 2 more breaths here. Gazes forward. Last inhale. And exhale. Spin the left heel down now. And then you're going to move your right palm in slightly. Start to build it up. Left fingertips to the sky. Going to take a deep breath in. We're just going to warm up that shoulder socket. So take the left arm all the way up and over. As you start to take your arm circles, 3 forward. And again, just notice what's happening in that shoulder capsule. Right? Just investigate. And then 3 back. And you can consider this whole practice a study, just an observation. What's my body doing? Right? What is happening in the body? Just getting to know it. And then as the left palm comes down, you're going to bring both palms down, find that plank pose again. Option is to drop the knees. Otherwise, we're going to hold it here for another 2 breaths. Get really, really strong. So not just pushing through the palms, also pushing out through the heels, distributing all the weight through the body. 1 more breath. Drop the knees. The chest goes forward. Bend your elbows. Build strength here in your arms. Chest forward, gaze forward, toes down. Inhale, find a cobra. You want to feel the shoulders roll up and back. Exhale, release. Let's just do 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Curl the toes under, move through the child's pose, and this time we're just going to go into the downward facing dog position. Little bend through the knees here, so you take all the weight off of your shoulders. You can shake out your head. You can flutter your lips if anyone else is in your household, in your space. Invite them to come and do this with you. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, flutter your lips. Yeah, feels good. Start to walk your feet all the way up to your hands this time. Bend your knees here. And then roll it all the way up to stand. Good. Okay, and we're going to come back to the top of our mat. We're going to stand with our feet about hips distance apart. We're going to stand up nice and tall. We're going to bring our palms together back to the heart space. And I want you to come back to that intention, right? This is what we're leading from, heart center, leading with our breath. 1 more inhale here. And then exhale, hands come down by your side. Let's reach your arms all the way up, little bend in the knees, and then slowly fold your upper body all the way over the lower body. Inhale, you're going to bring your hands to the shins and look forward. And we're going to bend our knees, and we're going to step our right foot way back to a long lunge. You're going to release your right knee down, releasing the right toes. Walk your hands up your left thigh. Any issues with the right knee, slip the blanket under or fold over the side of the mat. Just accommodate what needs accommodating. From here, sweep your arms up. And remember, this is a heart-centered practice. Bend your elbows. We call this cactus. Cactusing the arms, shoulder blades lift. So as you lift the chest, if you feel like you are compressing through that low back, I want you to really stamp into that left foot. Pull the hips back. Heart open. Take 3 big breaths here for me and 3 big breaths here for you. Notice how good it feels, right? When you're breathing with intention, breathe in with purpose here. Last inhale. Good job. You're going to bring both hands down to the inside of your left foot. And from here, you're going to press your right palm down. And as you curl your right toes under, lift your back knee. I'm going to start with my left hand on my left thigh. I'm going to spin my chest around and I'm going to lift my left fingertips. Yes. Opening up through the chest. Stay with it here. That's it. Back leg is strong and straight. One more breath here. We're not here for long. And then exhale, left palm comes down. You're going to come back into your downward dog. Now, for those of you who want to build a little bit of heat and have a yoga practice, I'm going to give you another option. But if this feels good, hang here for a breath. Otherwise, you're going to roll forward back to the plank. Drop the knees. Bend your elbows lower down. Take a Cobra. Release. And we'll meet everybody back in down dog. One breath here. And one breath out. Let's inhale our right leg up so we can do the other side. Step the right foot up between the hands. So if it doesn't make it there, maybe it only gets up halfway, pick it up. And then you're going to release your left knee, left toes. And if you need the support, you're going to fold over the side of the mat. So walk your hands up the right thigh. And remember, you have to take control of this. So don't stay in a position if you're feeling pain, right? We want to make sure that we are supporting our body in every way. Inhale, arms up, cactus the arms. Look up, send the chest up to the sky. If you find you're sinking to the low back, you pull into the chest. Look up, hold it here. Find those cactus arms. Breathe in and out. Notice your differences here. Acknowledge them. Stay with it here. Right? We hold the pose, but we are alive in every moment here as we breathe. One more inhale. And exhale. Bring your left hand down to the inside of the right foot. You can start with both hands down. My right hand's going to come onto my right thigh. I'm going to keep my left hand down. Lift the back knee and then start to open up through the right chest. Stay with it here. Send the heart open. I hope you're feeling a little burn in your legs, but an even greater opening in the chest. Last breath here. Little different now. Right hand comes down. Push off your left foot. Make your way back to the top of the mat here. Hands to the shins, lengthen the chest, look up. Little bend in the knees and fold. From here, let's roll it all the way up. All the way up to stand. And from here, take a few shoulder rolls back. Okay. So from here at the top of the mat, you're going to take your feet just hip distance apart, interlace your fingers, open the chest, and then exhale, slowly fold all the way over. All the way over your legs. Arms reach up and over. So any tension that we're carrying here in the chest, we're totally releasing. Let the head go. Let the neck go. Soften. You know, sometimes we can soften the body, but it all starts with softening the mind. All those narratives of I can't, I won't, never be able to, soften that first. Then see what happens. One more breath. Release the arms. And then again, let's roll it all the way up. Okay. I want to do one more standing sequence before we make our way down to the mat. So from the top of the mat, I want you to take your right foot all the way to the back of the mat. So you're spinning your right toes to the back of the mat. My right leg is now bent at 90 degrees. My left leg is straight. My left toe is angled in slightly, and my arms are going to come out warrior two. We did this last week. Gaze out your right fingertips. From here, we're just going to reverse this warrior. Okay? We're going to reverse it. Reaching the right fingertips way back towards the left leg as you keep sending the right knee forward. Again, we're opening up through the left side of your body. 2 more breaths. Notice where you grip. That's it. Feel how exhilarating it is to feel so strong here. Right? If you're sitting in a chair, you can do this too. 1 more breath. Start to straighten your right leg. Let's give this right leg a break. You're going to spin the right toes in. You're going to start to spin the left toes out. So we're going to do our balancing pose on the left leg. If you have a block or a book or something that can perhaps bring the floor to you, then you may want to do that. So I have a block right here. I'm just going to place it out in front of my left foot. So what you're going to do is start to lean your body, your left hand, just past that left foot and maybe onto the floor or onto the block as you come to stand on that left foot. And I'm going to lift my right leg up, hip level. I can point my toes, I can flex. Right hand up. We call this half moon here. Breathing in and breathing out. The hardest part, I think, in this pose is not just balancing, but it's also taking your gaze up to the sky because it requires that you open up your heart so you can look up to the right fingertips. Stay with it here. 1 more breath. Okay. You're going to square off your hips. Right hand down, right toes square off. Let your right foot come down. Now, before we do that whole sequence on the other side, you can consider this an interlude, but an active one. You're going to take your legs a little bit wider than hips distance, spin your toes out, and come to a squat. Okay? So if your heels are lifted in a squat, big deal. It just means that you have tight shins, tight hips, doesn't matter, right? We're working it out. So you can also take your heels up on a blanket, pull your arms through your legs, and then try to sit up and lift up through the chest as tall as you can. You can close your eyes here. But be here. Be here with all the sensations. 2 more breaths. Sometimes there are these moments in the practice that we just, we want to turn it off or we want to give up. Come back to that intention. Come back to the breath. Give it 1 more breath. You can always find 1 more breath. My teacher always would say that. Find 1 more breath. Hands down. Straighten the legs. Let the head go. And then roll it all the way up. Good. Okay. So let's do that whole sequence on the other side. If you want to, you can take your time to set up your blocks first. Okay. So my feet are hips distance. I'm now going to take my left leg to the back of the mat. I'm going to spin my toes out, my left toes out, and I'm going to find my warrior 2 on the left side, right? So warrior 2, it is like this strength building pose, right? You could feel the strength that you're building in your legs, right? Solid ground, but the heart is open, right? And I really love this pose. I love what it represents. It's like your left arm is reaching far into the future. Your right arm is reaching back into your past. And here, your super highway spine, okay? That is in the center, and you are so present here. Let's stay here 1 more breath. Good. Let's reverse. Breath here. I know I did not give you that whole explanation of warrior 2 on the other side, but I thought, we're going to come here to warrior 2 a lot. I thought I'd give it to you. I just felt it. Let's take one more breath here in the reverse warrior. Exalted warrior. Fancy name. And then let's start to straighten the left leg. Spin the left toes in. We're going to go to the right leg. Give our left leg a break now. So start to spin the right toes out. You know where we're going here. You're going to take your right hand just ahead of the right toes, maybe onto the block, maybe onto the mat. Think about standing on your right foot, left hand to sky, gaze up. Breath here. Point through the toes. Opening up through the heart space. Two more breaths. Keep looking up, just working it, opening up through the heart center. Last inhale. Find that one more breath. When you fall, you just come back. Left hand down, spin the left foot down, left toes down, and fold. Let the head go. Okay, let's come all the way to sit. So from here, we are going to bring our hands again behind our back and just take a little heart opener here, a little bit of a stretch. Just reach them back. Send the chest forward. That's it. One more breath. Good job. And then we're going to do the opposite, okay? So here we go, heart opener. So we can actually do a little self-loving. So right arm over left. I want you to round through the back as you give yourself a hug here now. Chin into the chest. Drop down. Round through the back. Shine the back of the heart. Behind you. One more breath. And then as you sit up tall and release from that hug, soles of your feet down. Let's work on our center of the body a little bit more. So bringing our hands behind our thighs, even just sitting up tall like this is a lot of work, okay? If you want to go a little bit more, maybe you come up to the tippy toes and you can alternate your feet, right? Starting to engage the center of your body and your core, your lower core, or maybe the feet lift up. Maybe the arms extend. We call this boat pose. Notice if you're rounding, I want you to really sit up tall. You can hang on to the legs to help you lift here as you acquaint yourself with this pose. And then arms extend forward. Try to hold it here for another few. Again, if you feel it here in your hip flexors, just means maybe you're not engaging the front of the body a little bit more, but it also takes time to find those muscles. So remember, we're leading with love, we're being kind. One more breath. Good job. Feet down, sitting up tall. So we're going to come into a pose. It's called Badakanasana, Cobbler's pose. It really helps to open up the hips. Before we come into it, if you have a real tight low back, if your outer hips are really tight, again, this is where all these props come into play. You can sit up onto this blanket and it just tips the pelvis forward, gives your thigh bones, these are called femur bones, give your femur bones a little bit more space and your low back some space, and then you can fold a bit. So bring the soles of the feet together. Bring your thumbs just to the base of your toes and open up through the feet like a book. and lift the heart center. Stay here, okay, if you like. If this is a lot of work, this is where we're hanging. Or you can begin to fold forward. You can walk your hands forward. You can keep your hands on the feet, lengthen the chest, and bow your head here. Close the eyes, always really nice in this pose. I find this pose takes some patience. If your upper back is really, really roundy, try to stay lifted. We want to hinge from the hips. Try to keep the heart bright as much as you can here. This is that kind of pose where the body resists and kind of grabs. And so we breathe and we're kind and we let the body let us in a little bit more. Inhale, lift it all the way back up. We're going to close the knees up, extend your legs straight out. So if you're on your blanket, you can stay here. Little bend in the knees here, arms extend way up to the sky. And from here, you're just going to take your arms, another hug, wrap them around your legs. I hope that you guys can see me. You're going to lengthen the chest here and then fold all the way down. Just tuck the chin back into the chest. Releasing. So the weight of your chest will release into the weight of the thighs, which will release onto the arms. Right, and if you're seated in a chair, this is great, right? Really nice pose. Last breath in and out. Roll it all the way up. From here, soles of your feet come down to the mat here. And you're going to move your blanket off to the side. We're going to close our practice today with a few more things. We're going to do a back bend. I'm going to give you a few options and a twist, and then we're out. So you're going to come down. If you have a block or a book, make sure that you have it handy, okay? You're going to try to listen to my cues. I'm going to be as explicit as I can so you don't have to turn your head and look at the screen, okay? So I want you to roll down onto your back. Just look up to your ceiling. Arms come down by your side as you bend your knees and walk your heels back so they touch your fingertips. And you're going to take a very deep breath here as you press into the back of the head and the shoulders. Breath in here and breath out. You're going to really start to push into the feet here. Take a deep inhale as you lift up through the hips and your thighs. The chest just automatically now starts to blossom open. Keep your palms down. You can push them into the mat, or you can interlace your fingers under your back. If you do that, start to shrug the shoulders underneath your back towards center. So we did that a few times with our arms behind our back and our fingers interlaced. It's the same action. So if you are in this bridge pose, try not to nod your head left or right. Try to keep your spine, your neck nice and long. Stand in the feet. Notice if your toes turn out, turn them in. One more breath. Release your hands, release your hips, and then as you lower everything down to the mat, knock your knees side to side like windshield wipers. So here's where some options come into the game. If you have a block or a book, we're going to do what we call a restorative bridge, where we're going to let the block do all the work for us. So you're going to set it up in the same way where your feet are hips distance. You're going to lift up through the hips, maybe take your block at any height that you like and place it underneath your sacrum. And that's that little bony triangle at the base of your spine. And then you're just going to let the body relax here. Just soften the shoulders and let the block do all the work for you. If you got a little bit more energy and you want to keep this heated, then forget the block and come back into your bridge. Interlacing your fingers again and breathing into the heart center. If you feel anything in your low back, you definitely want to come out. It's not worth it. We did a lot of back bending today. A lot of front body opening. One more breath. And then you're going to slowly release your hips if you're in your bridge. And for those of you who have the block underneath, you're going to push into the feet, lift your hips, remove your block off to the side. Once your hips hit the mat, knock the knees side to side. And then you're just going to hug your knees again into the chest. And you're going to let both knees fall to the right side of your mat. As you do that, your left arm's going to open to the left. Take your gaze to the left. So just taking a spinal twist. If it's too much with your knees up towards the chest, take them down a little bit or let them part. You decide. But try to take your gaze in the opposite direction of your knees. One more breath. And then the knees come all the way back through center. And then let your knees fall to the left. Right arm reaches all the way to the right. Take your gaze there. Stretch out through the arms as much as you'd like, or you can keep them close to the body. And notice how it may be a little tricky to breathe here in these twists. Right? And so the body, on purpose, is in a shape that makes it a bit challenging. So you want to just stay with this and inhale through the chest and the belly as much as you can. And I believe that these twists teach us that we try to take a deep breath wherever we can in our life, whenever we need it, whenever we are feeling all twisted up. We try to breathe. We're just doing our best, remembering that. Starting to draw your knees all the way back in through center. Give yourself one more hug. And then exhale, we're going to come into what we call Shavasana. It's a resting pose. And it is purposeful rest. A lot of us don't take that. So this is an opportunity to not go to sleep. That's not what Shavasana is. It is staying awake, but resting so softly, so gently, and letting go. So taking your arms out to the side, taking your legs as wide as the mat, letting your feet just release, and closing the eyes. Now, if you feel anything in your low back, you can also take blocks underneath your heels or a blanket underneath the knees. I'm going to sit up, but you stay lying down because this is your time. This is your time to receive the benefits of your practice. This is your time to just feel the fruits of your efforts. Closing the eyes. And we practice letting go. We practice letting go of whatever we are carrying around. We are practicing letting go of the walls and the blocks that we place consciously and unconsciously between each other. Practice letting go of that which we cannot control. and practice just being here in flow with our breath and in flow with life. Please rest for another minute. We often feel in our lives that we need to rush from one thing to another. So let this rest energize you for whatever you have going on next. As you start to bring your attention back into your body, take a breath in, fresh breath in and out. Start to reach the arms all the way up and over the head. And then bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet down. Roll onto the right side of your body and pause. Honor the commitment that you made to yourself today, whether you're catching this live or watching the recording. Honor it all, whether you did one pose or you did the whole class, it doesn't really matter. It's about what the practice does for us. And so as you press your left palm into the earth, just making your way up to any seated position where we join our hands at our heart center, if that feels good to you. It is a gesture of devotion and honor to yourself and to each other, bringing light to each other. I want to thank you for your trust and your presence and your patience as we work at the kinks. So thank you very much. Happy weekend. Namaste. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Greenwin Group. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend.